Hi, this is ArtsyWisdom. My name is Diane. Thank you for coming by. These are going to be my 2026 future impressions. I want to say predictions, but there's no guarantee about these. But I wanted to share with you my images, energies, feelings that I get for 2026 because we sure are living in crazy times. All right, let's get started. Before I get started, I wanted to share with you, I got a new bracelet. You guys, some of you know that I partner with OtterSpirit. It's a company that makes jewelry, bracelets, but they make them out of, and other stones. I think they make necklaces too. They only use the highest grade, superior quality, AAA, 80% of their stones are AAA rated or above. They're gemstones. So I get a variety of energies or pick up stuff when I'm wearing these. So I choose to wear different ones depending on the day. So I just received these and I wanted to share these with you. Each one comes with this little card and each one has an intention, has a spiritual focus. It has a chakra. Like green jade is double A grade. Everything I touch is turned to gold. So this is my green jade bracelet. Now, they each have this little tab, this metal tab, and it has a little otter on it because they give $1 at least, I think, and they support the Wildlife Otter Fund in Southern California. And because the wild otters were near extinction and they're slowly recovering thanks to conservation efforts. So they support the organizations like California Coast Keepers Alliance and the Monterey Bay Aquarium. So I love that. Now the other bracelet I got, and they have a 2-year warranty and they're all hand picked, they're all hand chosen. This one I'm really excited about. This is called Purple Emperor. It's really different. You can kind of see the depth of the color. So this one is AAA grade. I've never even heard of this stone. I attract peace and serenity. I need that. Balance is the intention. And the zodiac signs, Pisces, Aquarius, Sagittarius, and Libra. And it's the third eye, the chakra. I love it. It kind of matches my microphone. And this is peridot. This is a lovely color. And I like these colors together. You can mix and match. This one is August birthstone. That's my birthstone. In fact, I have a necklace, not this, but with a peridot in it. I just love that deep, kind of goes with my painting back there. I just love it. So anyway, there's a discount code in my description box that goes specifically from that link to their site. And they're having a nice sale right now, more discount for the end of the year. And it feels good, you know, a little bit they give back to the community in California, which is always nice. And yeah, if you guys think you're interested, click on the link. I don't promote any other product. I've been asked a lot to promote other products, but I don't promote any other product. I have to feel good about it. So anyway, I feel good about these. All right, you guys. And if you haven't been here before, I take copious notes and I sit and meditate on the world to see where I'm drawn to. I just go where I feel like interests me or I get images for. Not everything calls my name or wants me to go there, but I'm going to start off with the world. I immediately am in Europe, and in the past I've seen this like old-fashioned guy with the top hat. He's kind of like dressed very fancy gentleman. I think, what did I name him? Gregory, I think. Anyway, and he's changed and morphed. He's gotten dirty. He's been sad. He's been happy. He's been proud. All these different, depending on what the energies are for the country, the island. Now, it's funny. He is sitting like, you know, Rodin's The Thinker sculpture with his head, you know, his fist like this and his head down. But he's Indian. He's East Indian now. I don't feel him happy. I don't feel him jumping up for joy. I feel a sadness. In the past, I feel like there was a connection with France. There was a lot of back and forth. Right now, I just feel like he's there. He is focused on the country. And the thinker, I think, has something to do with the pensive, thoughtful energy of there right now that people are having. I feel like they're going through a big wave of difficult times there too. The whole world is, honestly. but I think they are having they have immigration issues just like we do in the States. But the number one thing is the number one year, 2026. I forgot to mention that is the number one year. 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10, which is 1. So I've said this before. This is the beginning of a new cycle. 2016 was a 9, and that's when Trump won in November. And then 2017 was the 1 year. So if you can imagine, this last 9-year cycle or 10-year cycle has been flavored with the orange guy. And it's coming to an end. And it's not a hard end. It's not easy. It's kind of trickles. It has roots on it, both ends, and it's fuzzy. But it is going to, 2026 is a new beginning for the world. So remember that. That's another energy overlaying a lot of this stuff that I'm telling you. Okay. I feel like when I saw the continent of Europe or the Western Europe, going back to that, UK, the guy with the thinker, and I've seen in the past this deep, dark river coming from North Africa and down that way past Spain. And I think it was all the migration. That was like last year and the year before, like underwater in a way. Anyway, I didn't know what that was, but I think it was immigration. But now I see Western Europe and the edges, the shoreline is being whittled down. It feels like it's shrinking. And I don't know. The first impulse I had was that it was Europe is being eaten like. So I don't know if it's eaten because of the cultural changes due to all these changes around, the country and people coming and going, because I know there's a lot of pushback from many countries about this. But or it could be the coastline, but it doesn't feel like it's washing. Because when I usually see waves or water rising, it's water. I don't, this is a dark, it's like it's being chewed. And I don't want you guys to get too fearful, but that's just a symbol of the feeling maybe, or what literally occurs where they feel like all the countries on the coastlines are being inundated or taken apart a little bit. Assimilation in time. But I do feel this is the positive side of that. I do feel like the assimilation, it will happen. Things will get to a point. It's like a pendulum, right? It keeps going this way. It's not an endless, infinite pendulum. It's always going to go and it's the end of the world. It's more just that's the going, and time will come back and it'll this way swing. The history of that particular country is going to still remain, and the assimilation of new people coming to the countries will fill in and take part. I don't feel this overwhelming. I'd have to go through country. I'm just talking Europe in general. And these are all guesses, guys. This is my experiment. If you read my description, these are my, what I see, and I share them with you. These are mostly shoreline, but I do feel like eventually it's going to assimilate. The cultures will be okay. Everybody will have that history, that common history now, and somehow that will convert the new version of the country, but not in a crazy weird way. Like there won't be any more of these holidays or traditions because of that. It's almost like they just become part of the fabric of the country. I showed you the old man is East Indian, and it's quiet. Like I said, he's just thinking like it's not like there's not a lot of activity. And I know some of you don't like that Keir Starmer. I feel like he's a weak dude, but I don't feel like he's the answer. I feel like he's treading water. That's the feeling I get. Next year, I think there's a good possibility by the end of the year he's gone. Quiet. I also feel like the economy in the UK is backed into the corner. I feel like that guy, the thinker, is in a corner and he's somber and he can't get out. So that's related to all of this. And this is UK now, not Europe. I know there's concern about, I don't know, Christianity. I believe faiths are just man's way to take the divine energy that we perceive and create religions depending on our cultures. So I think it's all one. I think we're all one. But anyway, I know we have different actions, but I do feel like Islam in there's a growing frustration in that regard, and people are getting upset more and more. And next year, it doesn't feel healthy. It doesn't feel, not that Islam isn't healthy. I'm saying the frustration. It feels like it's, again, with the pendulum. I think it's swinging this way. Uh, it's got to come to some balance. There's got to be some reconciliation with how to manage this. And I think it comes from the top. There's some issues with how this, the you know, whatever. Everybody's got an opinion about immigration and assimilation and rights and personal rights. I'm just telling you what I see, and I feel like there's some really big pockets of frustration. And they're more in these little enclaves. I don't know. I love English people and I love people of all shapes and sizes and colors. It's just hard. Okay, so then I got this image of whipping like like a hand going like that, like really fast for the country. Like I think it's turning, it's fast and hard and aggressive. Like it's not a spanking, it's not a whipping. Although there's a history of whipping, I think, in England and all over the world, but it's more of a page turner. It's like this giant book is pages and it's flipping through and like fast, like that. Um, I don't know what that means, if it's the intention people want to turn the page or the chapter is going to be over or they want the chapters to be over or they want to cover it up or something like that. It's not, no, it's not covering up. It's more moving on. Let's get past this kind of energy. Pages fast and angry. Yeah, that's the feeling I got. I also saw that the the rich folks, the class system in the UK or the Isles, the British Isles right there. Um, they look, I felt like there's the rich are more and more, it's like it is in the States. The class is really getting more and more different, more and more separate. And I felt like they're looking down on the lower class. Something will slow migration though. I felt like something is going to slow it, and maybe that's the turge paging, page turning. And I did see a giant, like if you turned on a red light all over the country, like a big red light, like you could see through the light. It was like you have a red light, you know, in your bedroom or whatever, and it just glows red. So I felt like that's all over the country. And I don't know why I'm focused on the UK, but that's all these images came to mind. And I don't know if that's stop, uh, because there's no boundaries to that red light. It just goes all over. I think that might be anger. I think that might be frustration. Um, yeah, I do feel like that. And it's funny. And then I looked over to Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, the island, and I saw uh, flowers popping up everywhere, like green and flowers. And I heard the word sprightly. So sprightly to me means agile, young, eager, um, kind of fun, um, like a childlike energy. I don't know why that is. I feel like that about Ireland. Then I looked at UK facing Europe. Um, I don't feel like, I just said this already about Keir Starmer. He does not feel like he's learning yet. He's using the wrong application for the circumstances. So that's right, I remember now because I did these many days ago before Christmas. Hopefully you guys, all your Christmases and holidays, whatever you did or didn't do was lovely and relaxing. Uh, but his brain or how he thinks about things, maybe the profession he came from, which I think it was business, I could be wrong. He looks at things differently for the circumstances. And that's what I was feeling earlier. It was more, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the problem. Some of it does, but not a lot of it. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know how that's going to change, but I do feel like you guys are going to make up some, now that I'm thinking about it. There's going to be so much frustration that they're going to change the rules about how people are received or not received or given when they come or not being able to enter. I do feel like there's something from on the side of Spain, staying in Western Europe. Some darkness is not good. It's maybe I'll show you in a picture here. I can show you the area of Spain. It's on the coast, and I think Portugal is right there, if I'm not mistaken. There's a darkness there that isn't necessarily, it's just, and it travels from there up into Europe. And I don't know what that is. It doesn't feel like people so much. It feels like a problem, something. Maybe it's not technology. It's not like earthquakes or flooding or anything. It feels like something big, like this hardly ever happens ever. And it's not war or anything like that. It just feels like some problem kind of leeches. So, Western Europe, you guys stay calm and carry on. But I could be totally wrong, right? I'm just telling you what I see. But I do see that coming from Spain bleeding up there. I do see Belgium for whatever. I saw the countries by Belgium. I saw a country near Belgium up in the. I'll put that on the map. Maybe I'll circle it and write it out there when I'm editing this. I saw it bailing water. There's bailing buckets or bailing water. So bailing us out. We need to bail ourselves out. Um, it could be literal water. Yeah. But I did feel the countries that felt strong: France, Germany, and Italy. Good. I felt Italy was the strongest, believe it or not. I don't know why, because I know they always have bankruptcies and corruption. Well, all countries do, but I feel like Italy's a little, and I'm part Italian, so don't. Sicilian, and my great grandmother was from Naples. And my great grandfather was Sicilian. Anyway, I do feel like Poland, there's some literal fighting there, like people on the ground fighting. I don't feel like it's locals. So I don't feel like it's Russia. There's some fighting there. I don't know what it's about. Greenland, I see Greenland being drilled, mining, etc. I see Iceland really growing in activity. And that Norway route, that North Sea, I guess, I don't know if that's the name of it. A lot of shipping, a lot. There's going to be a lot of shipping there. Um, and it feels very active. I feel the ships are very active there. Um, and there's even some submarines that go through there. I don't know if that's a place, because that's in the Western Europe, but I feel like there's a lot of activity there underwater too, and boats. And Croatia feels very wealthy. I feel like Croatia's getting a big boost in income, or has been. Feels like it's doing really well. And I do feel like Germany and Russia exchange something. There is an agreement. I don't know if it's resources, gas, something. I do feel like it's like we don't want to, but we have to do this with Germany and Russia. I don't feel like it's underhanded or anything. I just feel like they have an agreement to, it feels like resources or something like that. Putin, I feel like his health is going to be okay, but and he's getting closer to China. They're going, maybe that not BRICS. Is it BRICS? Yeah. Yeah. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and Saudi Arabia, maybe. Anyway, they're that all is going to be more tight. They're going to make that more and more tight. Now, the interesting thing, when I looked at Russia, because I was at Putin's energy, I saw green fields. I saw healing. I also heard that poem of Flanders Fields, for September 11th. Is it September 11th or 11/11? Not November 11th. That poem, and that came to mind. So maybe there's a truce. I saw Zelensky exhausted, but he's putting up stakes of fences. They're it's like just the poles that you put wire between, but he's putting up fences. So that tells me that they're going to come to an agreement this year. And nobody will be happy with it. Russia will be more happy, but Ukraine won't be as happy. They're going to definitely lose. And I always saw them giving up about 20% of the country eventually, because, they'll get to a point where we can't keep this up, and people will be too exhausted, and people just want it to be over. An agreement or truce. And I also saw, I don't know if you guys know this about me, I love the Jewish people. I have no problem with Jewish people. I don't have any problem with Islamic people. I don't care anything. But Netanyahu, he's a corrupt man. And a lot of his guys in his cabinet, right wing warmongers, because they do want to take a lot of the land in Gaza. So that treaty didn't really get executed very well, the peace treaty, I don't think. But I see there's kind of a mutiny or a coup or the like, kind of mid-year. Maybe it's just hopeful thinking, but I do feel like something is going to be maybe happening in that regard. But I heard 19 settlements, what did they call them? Aggressive? 19 settlements, Israeli settlements, basically just coming in and taking land. And the world is going to have enough. And I think with him, tariffs in China, they're not leaving. Trump's gonna keep those on. I feel like he's lessening the chips one because all the electric or the technology companies really went like bonkers because they're in everything. Chips are in everything. We cannot make products, phones, all this stuff without those chips. So it's going to stay pretty much the same as it is now. Taiwan getting the arms from us really triggered China. They're already planning. I think they're um, increasing the speed of which they want to take Taiwan, but they're not going to do it stupidly if Taiwan has all these armaments or military, you know, munitions and boats or whatever, missiles, drones, whatever it was. So they're not going to take it anytime soon, but it made them more determined. Heels in, digging their heels in. I do see that the electric car tariffs are going to be reduced slightly because that was some of the problem with China and Canada too. But I'm thinking of the States. I do feel like something to do with electric car tariffs are going to go down. I saw, but a little, not a ton, but a little. It'll be like tolerable. Canada economy, now we're in the North, or we're in the Americas. Canada's economy is really struggling. Although I was really happy about them saying no to all the liquor. So good. Keep at it, Canada. Half the year I'm in Canada, by the way. I'm a permanent resident of Canada, even though I'm American citizen. So my husband's Canadian. U.S. inflation is going to go up a little bit. It's going to continue on this. Now, the third quarter gross national product was 4.3%. Third quarter, not fourth quarter, third quarter. In the spring, when maybe there's numbers, who knows? Because nobody likes numbers. That's just not working for us. We need to just tell you what you need to know and believe what I say. Our government doesn't need to have numbers and data. That's just silly because it might be different than what they want. Anyway, I do feel like the inflation is going to go just up and up. And the jobless rate has gone up too. And I think that's the same way. I just feel like it's a slow upward. I had heard, and I said this in another video, about there's no manufacturing returning. In fact, we lost manufacturing in the States this year, but the tech companies are blowing up. So that's going to continue. That's almost what's saving this situation. Plus the investment in defense spending, which is it's a ripple effect to all the companies that support that. And if you invested in tech, it's going to go really good, and it's going to continue to go good. I know that people are worried about that AI bubble, and they keep moving money around. They keep promising things, saying this is happening, this is happening. I do think there's going to be a little bit of a drop in some of that stock. There's something. Okay, I'll tell you in a little bit, but it's not going to be like to the moon. It's going up really exponentially, all the AI companies, and it's going to grow, but there's going to be some lessons in this. And I think people are going to actually, the people that have been holding it up or propping it up are going to start walking away a little bit. I don't feel like they're going to continue eventually. I feel like they're going to find an exit strategy or an exit point somewhere later in the year, like in the fall. So I just wanted to get all the global stuff done before I moved on to the States and other things and climate. I saw a heat wave in China and it melts some glaciers that they're shocked about. I don't even know if there's glaciers in China, but well, the mountains, the Tibetan Himalayas, aren't they there? Anyway, there, I feel like there's some glaciers that are going to melt that never have melted before, and they're going to be shocked. And they're leading in solar and wind. They will start to lead in solar and wind because of their contribution to the ozone layer more than United States. They're going to surpass us in the United States. Maybe not by next year, but soon after. I'm looking at climate. Hopefully these guys, you guys, I'm going to end on some positive things. There are positive things mixed in here. Climate and weather, the heat records, of course, they're going to go up because the delay a reaction. And I saw this last year where the jet streams are shifting, or is that the jet stream? Yeah, the layers or the way the movement of you know the atmosphere moves around the Earth, the jet stream. I feel like it's shifting permanently, at least for now. Um, and some of them are shifting in such strange way, and that's accounting for a lot of that weather. Plus, it's the warm water that's happening, and that releases into the atmosphere, and that creates these massive storms and flooding and heat waves and cool waves where it wasn't supposed to be. My stepdaughter lives in Whitehorse in the Yukon, and 3 days ago it was minus 52, and that is not wind chill. That is the temperature, and that is Celsius. And do you know what that is in Fahrenheit? Minus 62, 61, minus 61.6. Nothing. How do you live? You're just constantly surviving, trying to keep the fire going. She said everything was breaking, all the metal, because she works at a place that for mining or different, she runs a heavy equipment area, and everything. The technicians couldn't keep things running because everything was breaking. They run out of propane. Everything was frozen. I was like, she had to run home in the midday to put wood on her fire so the house didn't freeze. Anyway, so climate, of course, the heat records are gonna galore. There are some, I feel like Europe, I felt like this, or EU or something, a group of European countries is going to sue the United States because they are spewing too much pollution because of Trump's relaxing of the Environmental Protection Agency's limits in all things, water, air, whatever it is, soil. I think they're going to be suing the United States. And maybe it's something with that climate agreement, something like that. But I think there's going to be a lawsuit. I don't feel like it's going to go anywhere, but it's symbolic, and it's going to solidify the European Union's defensive posture against the US and Trump. It'll almost, it'll continue after Trump is gone because of the companies. There are a lot of companies that do the right thing without being told or without regulation. But because these companies are saving money with these loosened regulations, or they're making money, whatever it is, the European, it's going to have a delayed reaction after Trump is gone. I think they're not going to forgive us quickly. They're just not. And all these countries will want to, but they can't. They don't trust the United States. Not just Trump, but it's the government at large in a lot of ways. I did see one other Earth event, and it could just be symbolic, but mid Central America, right in the middle between North America and South America, I saw this huge, um, like landmass, like almost like shift. And it almost felt like, oh, maybe it was equator, but it felt like like not opens up, but the level goes up and things will be exposed. Um, it in the past saw them having some discovery down there, but that was 2 years ago, and they ended up having a discovery down there. But it could be about the shift of the energies down in South America with Venezuela and Colombia and that because of Trump and all the things he's doing, the upheaval. but it feels like it's higher. It feels like it's more in Central America. It feels like it's like something gets exposed. I feel like some boats, old boats that were sunk. I feel like old cities or are discovered, um, ancient places that have been underwater. Um, I know that seems weird, but and if they had that big of a landmass, I'm talking through this now. If they had that big of a landmass go up, that's a big earthquake or something like it. And the plate, I'm sure the water, there would be tsunamis in other places. And that's definitely a possibility. But it feels like it goes southward. This thing goes up and it faces north. So it opens, that's north, and it kind of like, when you cross those bridges and they let or you don't cross, you're waiting, the bridges open up like that and ships go through. That's what I feel like. I feel like it goes up like that. And it could be symbolic, like I said, of blocks or openings, but it feels like it's more of a landmass. Um, yeah. And it's near the equator, rises out of the ocean, ancient villages, and some areas sink down because if this goes up, then this kind of tips down. But it feels like it's not at like a big countries, like across like Mexico, or it feels like somewhere in Central America, like it's at a weak point or a part that is skinny or close to being the skinniest part. I'll look at some images and I'll show you. But yeah, I don't know what that means, but yeah, that's part of the big activity down there in Central and South America. I'm still on this. I got colors. So these are just general things. And, I get images and impressions. And I saw different colors for different subjects. Climate and weather, I saw red. So that means like chaos, like emergency, emergency. US politics, I saw blue. Blue is Democrat. And I just went with my gut instinct on these. Blue is the Democrats. It also is cooling. Blue is cooling, but I got in Europe vibes is the energy around Europe, and I got yellow. Caution, maybe. I mean, it doesn't have to be a light, but yellow is also sunshiny and happy. Russia, I got brown. Earlier, I saw the green fields, but I just got brown. Ukraine, I saw yellow and blue. Their flag is yellow and blue, so duh, no brainer. But this also feels cooling. There's also a um, hopefulness in these two colors, I feel. Canada, I saw brown and red and vast green. So I think there was a bunch of colors, and the red, of course, is in the maple leaf or on the flag, but um, it's also like a tenacity and an anger that they have to make sure they're standing by the borders and don't tread on me, even though I know that's not their slogan, but it feels like that's it feels strong. It feels really strong and meaty. Brown, that makes me feel like the prairies might not have a good year. Although this last summer was pretty good. The summer before last, it was not good. And then Bass Green. So like Canada's like the second largest landmass. It's massive. So I just simple answer to that is there's a lot of lushness that's going to be grown. There's growth in certain areas that we didn't expect to grow. There's tenacity and standing up for themselves. And then there's going to be maybe some drought situation somewhere in there. Asia, I saw green and gold. Not yellow, but gold. China has the gold. Sometimes accents on things. But green is growth. Green is healing. Green is part of that switch to more greener industries, resources, and it's going to turn to gold for them. That makes sense to me. I know that's a little bit on the nose, but that's what I feel like. I'm going to look at AI because that is all over the world. It will surprise us every day. Surprise us in many good ways, surprise us in some negative ways. It's surprising us every day. I got some images I'll share with you. It's a tool for us to use. More and more, we're using it. And it can't, so when you go, it's going to take away our jobs, it's going to be robots and we won't have any control over anything. That's the big, that's the feeling I get, is my fear when I go, oh my God, they're going to just take over and we'll have no control and we'll be in a little cave somewhere trying to eat, and the AI robots will be taking over the whole country or whatever it is. No, but what I got was, and what I heard too, when I did this meditation, was AI is not a social thing, or not a spiritual thing. It is not, it doesn't have a soul, it doesn't have feelings. It says words, it talks if you ask it to, read what it's saying. And it sounds like a real person. Pictures, they look like a real person doing something, and it implies emotion. It implies we project the humanness onto it. So it's not a human. It's artificial. I know they're working on other stuff, but right now it's artificial. It's just a collection of information that they've curated into this program or technology that represents kind of how we think, how we talk, how we interact. But what I got for it, it can't love, it can't change diapers, it can't, uh, there are tasks that things can use. It can invent words on a page and put information together and give you ideas. But we are the ultimate creators. AI is not. AI is a tool. And I felt, maybe this is just hopeful thinking, I felt like we're going to grow with it. Some people won't, obviously, but I feel like generally humanity will grow with it, and it'll give us new avenues we can't even imagine in science or technology or medicine. Also, not so much social, although I think there's some applications, but industrial stuff. Yeah, definitely people will lose jobs, but there's going to be and we're in this and be messy page or period. And so so I saw this, I think it's going to be good, but right now we're in this terrifying middle part. I also saw like a farmer, AI as those, you'll see a cow or whoever pulling a farmer. This is old fashioned stuff. He's got that row cutter or that implement that carves into the dirt, as the old way. It's not a tractor. It's just a cow pulling this thing in an old fashioned farmer. That handle, that cutter, is what I thought of AI. The farmer is the big creator. It's also Taurus, and it's also the earth. And that's us. We're just using that cutter, and we're going to make rows, and we're going to grow, but the thing can't move itself, right? We have to use it. That's how I got that image. And I also felt like we can be more creative designing and solving problems. Like I said, it's going to feed us, create new technologies, but also new industries that are not even in our imagination yet. We are still human. We created this. We are powerful to change things. So we're in charge of that thing. I know we don't feel like we are because some smart kid in Silicon Valley's created it and we don't have any control, but we're not going anywhere in the humans. It's so crazy that we don't feel like it's not human. We are in control of it. We're using that tool. They're gonna, with the AI, the positive thing, they're gonna discover this really cool, I feel like. Now, it may not be next year, but I saw this. The energy fields, because right now, I can read, people do Reiki with energy fields. There are etheric bodies around you, your chakras, colors, different dimensions outside of our bodies. And they're going to be able to start seeing that, or sensing it, or perceiving it. And it'll start to explode the spiritual angle about energy and about how we're all connected, and the universe and physics, and it's like Quantum Leap, that TV show. I feel like it's going to do that. And that's the most wonderful thing, is that there'll be more proof to analyze, or proof to show that these things do exist. I and then I also feel like aliens, because of this, there's a way that we'll be able to understand more about aliens, space, aliens, extraterrestrials. It's going to be really big. And I feel like that is going to give us so much more information about communicating, astronomy, space, all of that. I know there's more words. I can't think of them. But that part I think is amazing. I'm excited about that because I believe that the energy is all around us and I can see things in color and different things. But I can't, there's aura cameras, but it's hard to prove. Then I saw alien beings or fields will show up, like fields on this in the sky and space. They'll start to see layers, I think, of energy. Oh yeah, and Disney and AI, OpenAI made a deal so OpenAI could use, Disney got paid to, AI could use the likeness of all their characters, and so they got paid a lot. I was listening to a podcast and I thought it was a stupid move, but because Disney used to be so proprietary and holding on to it tight, but they think they're trying to join the new world. But okay, so the one big problem, I did see something this year, a big system will break down. It's either shipping or some sort of industry, because they placed AI program or whatever it is, technology into managing the system. Um, I'm thinking of those Waymo cars. And is it San Francisco? They stopped traffic because they stopped running because of electrical, I think blackouts, was it? Anyway, it's like that. It's like it's something happens, like I don't see like people dying or anything. I feel like it's more of an industry. They find a flaw in something because it's a massive thing they've invested all this time in AI into. But I see boats, I see ports, like it's, or maybe energy, what do you call, like oil and gas, electrical grid. It feels more like it's on the, I don't know, it feels more like it's on the coast. Some dark hole like melting together. So it feels like whatever it was working on, it destroys itself. Something. Not boats going down or anything, but the system, whatever it is, the programs. Sometimes, oh yeah, so sometimes ChatGPT, people have done studies on this. It'll tell you what you want to hear. It doesn't, oh, it's not always 100% accurate. So you need to check whenever you ask it questions or whatever, check it, because sometimes they understand, or it understands that you're like this and you want to hear this. You don't want to hear the opposite, which I find fascinating. But that's not human. That is just built in to the program. I forgot to say this. I saw AI as, Stretch Armstrong, the toy. Um, you know, I don't know what's in it. It's like this really stretchy, thick thing, and you can stretch them across the room. Kids used to have them. They tried to stretch them till it burst. It's really hard to do. But that's what I saw AI is. They're trying, it's skinny legs, skinny arms. I'm like really skinny. And if you, the space now, there's space around the body of this stretched being, which is AI. And there's loopholes. There's something about these loopholes, and maybe that has something to do, loopholes, maybe not the right word, problems with the system. It could be, it's hackable maybe, or something like that, or something different. But there's some holes there that are going to come up. I don't feel like it's going to be massive, but I hear the word government, so I don't know what that's about. Stretch thin. That's the thing. That's the other thing I got. You remember I was telling you they're trying to prove that they're so great and everything, and they're moving money around, and AI is promising all these things, so people are investing in it. They're stretched thin to do that, to make sure. And I feel like that's where those holes are. And I think people are going to eventually, where there's that exit point, that's where they're going to leave. 2026, some of them, it's 2026 will be more chaotic. Not all bad chaos, because we're getting farther and farther across this line that we're going to get to a place where things are better, but we're in the messy part right now. I do feel like crypto in the summer is, and don't take anything I say about finances or goals or stock market. This is nothing I know about. So I just saw like crypto in the summer going down. I don't know which ones, because I know there's like tons of them. I did see, this is kind of neat. I saw some small personal farms, neighborhood farms, because of the cost of things. I see people making kind of cooperatives, right? And I know those are probably existing now, but I feel like they're going to be in little closer to the city, like in suburbs, where people are going to be having these neighborhood farms where they're going to put all their yards together and they're going to grow things together, a mutually beneficial farm. And I feel like it's going to help them eat cleaner, and people see that I don't have to go to a store and buy something. I can just grow it. And I know that people do that all the time, but it feels like it's going to be in locations that never had it before. It feels like it's going to be little groups, like, I don't know, 6 houses or 6 neighbors or whatever. And they get together and they create this little farm together. And I feel like it's like that, this neighborhood cooperative. I feel like that's going to do more and more. Okay. Let me look at the US now. Before I do the US, I forgot. I looked at Australia. In the past, I've seen Australia as this lady, this grand lady, like Civil War belle, kind of this big dress and this big cape, kind of like shawl, and it had the whole or spots all over it, like spotted. And over time, I realized it's the digging in Australia. And it used to be like she's waving, and it looked healthy and it was just active. But now I feel like she's just flat on the ground, not clean, not shiny, not white, and black spots. It's kind of dirty and gray. So I don't know if it's slowing down mining. I haven't heard one way or the other, but I feel like there's some changes there. Maybe it's just change. I don't know. Maybe it has to do with China. I feel like China has something to do with it. I do see that. Sometimes I see people people in places as food. I see Australia as a ginger snap, very snappy, like um, sweet but spicy kind of. The lady's not spinning. I feel like they're going to have a big heat wave. And I also saw no, I know New Zealand is right nearby, but I see water lapping. And when I told you that earlier, when I see water lapping, I feel like there's waves. So that tells me there's maybe an earthquake near there. And I don't know if it's a full-on tsunami, but I do feel like there'll be some waves from it. And I don't know if there's tectonic plates around Australia, but I do feel like that is part of this. And it feels bigger than just some like higher waves. Yeah. And I also saw this thing, the landmass underneath between, uh, is it western or south of Alaska? Is it the North Pacific Sea there? I feel like Russia, between Russia and Western Canada or up that way. I feel like there's a huge shift, and I don't feel as strong like it was before, because I felt like it was really deep and really big, but I do feel like there's something down there, a split, and it feels like, I don't feel like a tsunami. I feel like it's so deep that it's moving the plates. They're slowly. I know everything's slowly, but I feel like it's right in there. And yeah, back to the US. I do feel like the military, 20% is in with Hegseth and Trump, and higher ranking service members are not in. They understand. The longer it goes, though, the more mutated it'll go. The higher ranking service people, generals, captains, whatever, they are all in. They are taking the leadership role in the military because they see that the leadership is being um, dispersed, melted, and it's being mutated because of this military idea of warrior, kill everybody, kill everything because we're in charge, dominate kind of thing. I feel like 20% are, they're gonna lead and push back when they can. 80% of these soldiers are doing what they have to do. They're not going to say anything. But I do feel like 20% feel this fear or concern about their careers and everything because they want to say something and they don't want to do anything illegal, like Mark Kelly says, because you don't have to. You're right. You're supposed to not do something that's illegal. The morale is sinking. I feel like the morale is sinking. And it's the leadership vacuum scares them. And I feel like the forces are being squeezed. I don't know what that means. Squeezed tight? Pressure, maybe? Maybe that's what that is. But generals and high level, captains, sergeants, majors, will fill it because they see that the Hegseth, the idiot at the Pentagon, is he just wants to be in, he wants to be on a show. He wants to be on a stage. He wants to just say, look at me, how tough I am. He really is. He does. That's why he just wants to lead a life, like a dream life that doesn't necessarily align with the Constitution. He just wants to be angry and tough. And he found a way in to do that because of Trump. And plus, he's a pretty boy, so Trump will keep him, even if he fights with him. Although later I'll tell you he won't. The generals or whoever, these admirals, these people in leadership, feel like this is their war right now. It's very confusing, but they feel like this is where they have to hold the line, that 20%. And they know leadership. They know what it looks like. They know how to do it in a way. Um, they'll follow the rules as much as they can until they can't. This summer, I do feel like the GOP is, I saw this big blanket of gauze going over the United States. The GOP wants to blanket and cloud our judgment and don't look at what you're seeing. Don't look, don't believe your lying eyes. I feel like they're going to cover all the voters and say, no, it's not that. And they're going to blanket all these statements and try and cloud the situation that's reality. And they're going to say it's this, not that. But people aren't swayed because they want to win the elections in the fall. But no, people aren't swayed. They're going to see past it. The palming that Trump is doing is, so all these oil tankers, they're dropping down and taking all the bombing of these drug boats. That is going to, it's not going to force Maduro out, I don't think. I feel like they're going to pull back and they're going to just hold in reserve and keep hold on the government. I don't think it's going to push him out. But the boats and everything is symbolic of their desire to dominate and drill. They just want to drill, get oil because they don't want the oil going to China or Iran. And that's about it. It's all about natural resources. There's nothing that Trump doesn't do that doesn't get him some benefit out of it. Not the country. I'll say it's the country, but by way of him. It may ultimately help the country he thinks, but he doesn't read past his nose. But it's always a commercial venture. It's always something where somebody's going to make money off of it or something like that. So it's always about this oil or natural resources that he's keeping from another country to dominate or for us to get. They want to drill there somehow and take the lands. I don't see a foot war, though. I don't see foot war. I don't feel like them going in. But I do see continual pushing, bombings, drones, and that sort of stuff. I do see that there was already secret assignments to get intel in Venezuela and Colombia. Secret ops have goals, and Trump's goal is to take resources. Take, underline twice, capital letters, like somebody tweets. That's his goal. So there's already been secret ops, secret missions down there to get intel, and that's how they're on these missions, spies, I guess, and they're using them to rationalize or justify what they're doing. And so some of that is intel. Will we ever see that full video that they said they're going to show us of the people floating in the water that got killed after? Um, yes. You know why? After Hegseth is gone. So let me tell you, the courts are going to continue to fight, push back. There'll be appeals, the nonstop dragging it out. That's going to continue. I do feel like there's several things are going to get stopped next year, like these National Guard deployments. I know many of them are, but then he ignores the court order. Noem is going to be gone. Christy Noem's going to be gone. Hegseth is going to be gone. And Rubio is going to be gone. All three of them are going to be gone next year. I think I mentioned Bongino. I saw him going to be gone, but then he announced he's going to, I did this and he said he was going to resign in January. So I was like, of course you are, because that's what I saw. Bongino's going to quit, and Patel, Kash Patel of FBI will get fired. And I said the Dems will win a bunch in November, a bunch. I don't think it's going to be, 2/3 of the Congress, but they're going to win a bunch because GOP is going to run hard and play that old playbook in convincing people. And they're going to use all of the fear, immigration, economy, which they're screwing up anyway. We are going to get through this. They're just changing times. That's all. This is happening right now. Just times are changing. We're going into the Pluto and Aquarius, where it's more about humanity and the collective good than it is about money and status and structure, banks, real estate. That's where it came from, Capricorn, last 20 years. So it's moving into Aquarius, or has moved, but so we're starting a bunch of stuff next year. The thing with this time is that once these sure things that we always counted on, we get complacent. We always counted on them. They're no longer. New versions of them are going to come along. We're going to replace, it's going to take a long time to build up many areas, departments in the government, but also in the culture, like civility, kindness, and just agreeing to not agree. In fact, I have some Canadian friends who are fans of the provincial premier, Danielle Smith, who I don't like. She likens herself to be Trump. But we disagreed. We were talking about the gender affirming care stuff. But there was no fighting. It was like, we're still friends. It's all good. And so what? See, why can't we do that? That's how it used to be, but he's going to be gone and he'll have much more health problems next year. I saw some really dire things in the spring. Anyway, and I also saw him seeing the doctor, or he have a health something this month. Yeah, things will come back eventually, some different and some better, actually, because we're starting from scratch. And when things are coming back, you can do it better and different. You're like, okay, good, we can reorganize it better. It's kind of like cleaning out your closet and you see it all and you're like, okay, this has been around too long and it's not helping me anymore. Let's clean this out. So it's like that. It feels like that. Tech is going to soar, like I told you. The interesting thing is I saw the 2026 or what we're going to experience as Mille Feuille. It's like a pastry with lots of layers, like pastry, butter, like croissant pastry, but crispy, really crispy. And it has cream or custard in the middle, and it's lots of layers. Mille Feuille, I mean, 1,000 layers, although there's not 1,000. And it's so hard to cut because it's so structured. But I feel like the top layers, which are the higher class, the richer class, the elite, the people who have all the money, are bigger. And down here, the layers get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. And I feel like these layers at the very bottom, the weight is just so heavy. And we're holding it up. We're holding up the bottom. Without us, the rest would fall. But they're really growing on top of us. The Mille Feuille. I'll put a picture of it. So will that change? Will we get better? I do feel like We're going to have a lot more protests next year, a lot more civilized protests too. Not anything crazy like violent or anything. I just feel like there's going to be a lot of protests next year. We're leading to giant leaps in everything. I think we're going to be shocked. Maybe not next year, but 27, how much change we're going to go through. Even more, right now, how could we go through much more? But we are. We're realizing our humanity. It's coming up because the reason Trump got popular is because there was an energy out there, that frustration and things weren't right, and he fed on that, and he's good at marketing. And he says a lot and a lot and a lot, and you believe him, or people believed him, brainwashed him. But over time, humanity will return to its senses, and maybe not next year, but we're going to get to that place. Anyway, and we're going to realize that we all want the same thing eventually. It's not going to be you versus me. All the culture wars, it's going to lessen. There'll still be people, Rush Limbaugh was around for 30 years. I do feel like AI, just as a note, because I just saw this note, AI is going to help with brain scans. I know they do MRIs and CAT scans, but I saw this Elon Musk, he's going to go all in on that robot. I was talking about robotic soldiers or something crazy and scary like that. But he's moving on, and I saw this before. He's in Tesla, but I feel like he's going a different direction, like he's a figurehead, or he's there, part of the board or whatever. But he can't stay still for much, so he's moving in another direction. He's creating all this technology, and I had seen it in the past, and I don't know if it was him that I said it, but it's like this scanner, kind of like Star Trek, when Spot, or what was his name, Bones, he would just put that on somebody's eyes or whatever it was, and it could look and see what was wrong with you. There's something like that. I know we can do temperature. There's some sort of, maybe it's AI related. Maybe it's a machine. It takes all these things and it assembles them in some sort of algorithm and says, this is what's happening or something. I don't know. But I do feel like something with the brain health, the brain mechanism to diagnose things. It's big. It's big. So my owl spirit, some of you know my owl spirit. He comes and he talks to me, and he came and we visited, and we were in a different location. In the past, my owl spirit by this water, and there's like a desert island with palm trees with the GOP and the Republicans and all these other images, and Trump kind of in and out of there on this other peninsula, and these boats going to the Golden City. I know, but we're not there anymore. He takes his wing and he shows me this great big green valley, beautiful meadow between mountains, and it was gorgeous, and it felt really, really, really good. And I asked him what we can do, and he said it's the same fight but different players. He's talking about time. This time is like other times that have been in history. Same fight, different players. Different ways, different means, coordination, it's all different. And he says, watch the transition with joy, meaning the joy of change, the joy that we're going to see unfold before us. Like, get out your popcorn and watch it. He says, stand in the knowing that we are the wind and the water and the energy to curve it to our will when necessary. We are the wind and the water and the energy to curve it to our will when necessary. We, the humans, the human spirit, the beings, the spiritual beings that we are, energetic beings, and active 3D beings, animals that we can change things. So we're part of the new version. And he said, that's us. We're doing it. Prepare for transition with plans to start running. Oh, yeah. So he reminded me, sometimes when, I don't know, you jump down and your feet are already moving before you hit the ground, kind of like when you're holding a baby and they're moving and then you set them down and they run off, or a dog or whatever. I feel like that. So as soon as our feet hit the ground, we got to start running. So it could be, I think, the Dems getting in power, but we need to be prepared. Right now, we're not. I have a sense that the infighting with the Democrats, which I love, I'm a Democrat guy, so, but there's a lot of issues with focus or direction. Right now, it's not clear. It's not being, I see Chuck Schumer gone too, by the way. I don't see him staying. And that just came to me. Mike Johnson's gone. Hakeem Jeffries will probably be the majority speaker of the House, I think. That just came to me too. Anyway, the GOP will be buried in the sand. We're running, and they're slowly sinking in the sand of that island over there. So stay positive and stay strong. Those of you who haven't been here before, yeah, I'm not a Trump fan, so you probably figured that out. I do feel like a renaissance is coming too. This is in the next decade, not in 2026. I do feel like we're going to have a resurgence of a renaissance. Humanity and the arts are going to be elevated. Maybe not like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and that, but definitely a focus on the arts, a culture focus, but not so much about sexuality and making everybody like everybody. It's more about the connection of the arts, poetry, music, art, visual arts, performance art, anything, all the arts, all the, I can't think of words, but everything that connects us humans that we can't verbalize, something like that is going to get bigger and bigger. And it's going to be so fulfilling. I feel like my belly feels really good and joyful when I think of that. But finally, we can't see the future. We're living it. We're right in the middle of the mess, like I said. But because we're anxious and when we're in our heads, I've reminded you guys before, when you get in your body and you feel your senses, you smell, you taste, you hear, you see, you sit, you get out of your heads, you deep breathing, because you can't focus on two things at once. It's not possible. I learned this through hypnotherapy. You just listen to your breath. If you breathe in, as you breathe out, if you're focused on that breath, just focus on your breathing. This can't go anywhere and do anything. Just listen to the breath moving in and out of your lungs. Slowly, slowly in, blowing out. And with each breath, you let it get calmer and slower. And hear the sound moving in and out of you. And it connects you to your body. And your body has all the answers. Our head is the thing that gets us stuck in the fear and the anxiety, and it's a cycle. And our body, without this telling us bad things are happen, is perfectly fine. It can heal itself every day. It does heal itself every day. We're natural, organic creatures that can heal ourselves. We are recreating our future. We're recreating it right now. It's being forced upon us to recreate it, and we feel like we're out of control, but we're recreating it. So next year, I think we're going to see a big flip. We're going to see 2026 is going to show us the vision of the new future, I think. We are not directionless. I think that fear is being forced upon us, or shown images are forced upon us from all over the world. This experience that we've experienced in the last 8-10 years or whatever it is we see the flaws, we see the corruption. It's being unearthed. The rules, the ethics violations that weren't, I think codified is the word, into law, have been abused. So we see that now. And if we didn't go through this, we just kept going and everything, we wouldn't even be aware of it. So remember that. Yeah, I'll probably do a second one because I have a bunch of things here that don't fit into this this video. But tell me what you think. If you guys have any other areas that you want me to look at, yeah. But hopefully it wasn't too dark. There's a lot of positive things that are happening. I do feel like food is going to be plentiful. I don't feel like there's a scarcity of food at all. Like farms will do fine. I know the farmers are losing some of their farms because it's getting too expensive, and meat is more and more expensive. And I think I talked to you guys about that because cattle ranchers, there's just not the quality or quantity. There's just not a lot of cows. So there's not a lot of hay to feed the cows. It's just an expensive proposition. So they sell a cow. That's what our cattle ranchers say. You just sell because you can't keep it. So that's how, and so there's less and less, and it's more and more expensive. So plant-based stuff is really good. Fish, I know fish is good. Mediterranean diet. Have yourself some olive oil and some bread. That would be lovely. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think, and hopefully your holidays were lovely. Mine were great. Just had my kids over. It was very quiet. Had a lot of good food. So now I'm on a pre-New Year's diet, or not eat so much. Anyway, all right, you guys, take care. Till next time.